Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. I haven't done a live for a while. And I have a few people arriving. So I'll just say, as I said in the chat, just ask your questions. I'll do my best to answer to the best of my ability. If it's too complicated, I will find out the answer for you and come back, because I don't actually I don't know everything. I do have to look things up and research things. But we'll just see who's brave enough to type me a question. I haven't done a live for since probably before the summer. I just figured that over the summertime everybody would be too busy doing other things to join. So, and I certainly was. I did a lot of traveling, backwards and forwards, different places, all in Europe, and it was just hard to stick to a schedule over the summer. So I need somebody to let me know that the sound quality is okay, that you can hear me okay. Just make sure my volume's turned up. I have a very sensitive speaker on this laptop, and I have to remember not to touch anything, otherwise it sounds like very big and rustly in the microphone. Oh, everyone's very shy. There's 14 people joined, but nobody's asking me any questions yet. Here we go, Nikki. Hi. Nikki says, wow, I'm finally on your live. I need to, I think once you ask a question, there might be a setting where you have to wait 60 seconds before you can ask another one. So sorry if that's the case. I haven't, like I said, I haven't done one for a while, so it's remembering all the settings. Nikki, thank you. She says, hey, you're my guru. Good, good. I'm glad that things that I put out there resonate. And honestly, the feedback is so, your feedback in the comments is what keeps me going, because just knowing, hearing your stories and knowing that things are working for you, and you're trying my suggestions, doing things that I've tried for myself, and they're working, and you're feeling better and you're regaining your health. It's just incredible. It's just absolutely one of my favorite things, is just reading those comments. Not all of them. Sometimes there's some mean ones. As I said, when I did my video a couple of weeks ago, when I got to 60,000, it was just, sometimes people are mean. Sometimes they try and call me out and make me look silly, but most of them are unendingly positive, or just really good questions, that hopefully then, in answering them, hopefully it helps other people. Nikki, I have a question. Will caramel stevia put me out of ketosis? I've just had a drop in my butter coffee. Do you have a keto monitor? because really the only way to know is to test your ketones. The thing is, probably a drop of caramel stevia probably won't tip you out of ketosis, but what it will do is keep that need for sweetness alive in you. And that's the hardest thing, isn't it? Getting rid of what we used to call a sweet tooth, but it's the, yeah, she says, I only have the P tests, the sticks. They're really hit and miss. You really got to do the finger prick test. Somebody, and it hasn't arrived yet, I've had a company approach me and ask me if I will test for them a continuous ketone monitor, like the continuous blood glucose monitors that you can now buy from a pharmacy and you wear on your arm for 2 weeks. This is a continuous ketone monitor, and I can't wait for it to arrive because I just think it'd be so useful to wear one of those as well. But I use the blood test sticks, and they are not cheap, are they? They're, for me, they're like €1 each. So I try not to do too many of them. I think in the States they're about $1 each. But they are the only accurate way. So, people tend to do just one test a day. Just wake up in the morning, immediately you wake up, test your blood sugar, your blood glucose with one, if you have a Keto Mojo, you can do both together, but I've got 2 separate ones. So I test my blood glucose, looking for numbers under 100, and then I test my ketones. If my blood glucose is low enough, if my blood glucose is high, I don't bother testing the ketones because the stick costs me €1, and I know that they won't be particularly high. And it all depends on what I've eaten the day before. So yeah, probably that a drop of caramel stevia. I don't know. And again, it's different for everybody. So you just have to test it and see. It's worth getting the blood testing sticks because they do, apparently the ketone tests where you pee on a stick, they're fine for the first couple of weeks. But once you start getting regularly into ketosis, they don't work that well. They're not very accurate anymore. And you have to then test the ketones in the blood for accuracy. So anybody else? Is it just Nikki and me having a conversation tonight? Nikki, ask me another question. Ask me another one. I'm just getting to the end of 3 weeks in with Dr. Boz, who is just the keto queen as far as I'm concerned. She's so knowledgeable. It's been such an amazing course. I've learned. I mean, I thought I had so much knowledge already, and I've learned so much more. Wonderful, really amazing. Nikki says, I work as cook in a brain injury unit. It's so hard. I cook them the best I can. I've had a few run-ins with my team leader about them. Keep buying crap for one of our type 2s. The low sugar, low fat. I know it's gosh, you must find that really tough. God. Oh, wow. Yeah, you have got me all to yourself. I know. I mean, the hospital food, it's terrible, isn't it? It's just the worst, and it always has been the worst of the worst. I remember being in hospital in the 80s. I had an accident. I fell off my moped and hit my shoulder against a car, dislocated my shoulder, and had to have an operation. And I just remember it was the first time I'd stayed in hospital, and I would say to my aunt who lived nearby, can you bring me in a tuna salad? Because the food is so disgusting. There's nothing to eat. And it hasn't got any better. Everything's low sugar, low fat. Oh, just awful and very low quality. And wasn't there a TV show in the UK a few years ago where it wasn't Jamie Oliver, somebody was trying to improve the food in hospitals like Jamie Oliver did for school dinners. And you just think, it wouldn't be hard. And yet here we are still giving people sugar-free jelly and low-fat yogurt. Awful. And it's a brain injury unit where they need that ketogenic diet more than anything, don't they? Gosh. It's like we've got the NHS over here and the knowledge over here that fixes the people over there, and never the twain shall meet. It's really tough. I'm now in charge of the menus and shopping. Oh, brilliant. well, then you can make a difference. God, and I bet those people in that unit are enjoying your food more than the rubbish they're normally served. Turkey Twizzlers, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Remember that? He showed us how they were made, and then nobody wanted to eat them anymore. Jamie Oliver. This probably doesn't mean a lot to anybody. We've got 18 people all sitting there listening to Nikki and I having this conversation. Somebody else, come on, you must have something that you want to ask. Even if I don't know the answer, I can do my best, can't I? So, Nikki, what kind of things are you cooking for them? I mean, it would be so easy, wouldn't it, to do it properly? You could. So somebody asked me today what was a good alternative to pasta to have with bolognese, and I just thought, well, because I never eat pasta anymore, shredded cabbage, steamed in the pan, stir fried with a little bit of gluten-free soy sauce, or roasted in the oven. Just so many things you can have instead of pasta once you figure it out. This is a very quiet live. I did it. I wanted to do it for members because I wanted to give you guys something to thank you for joining and for being my members and for doing that for me on YouTube, because I really appreciate you. But it's no good if you all sit there just being quiet and not saying anything. I buy lots of meat and obviously fresh veg. Yep, I've managed to cut down some of their bread intake. One gentleman would eat 3 chocolate spread sandwiches before I came. Wow. But yeah, he's probably starving. If you're going to eat that type of food, if you're not eating real nutrition, you're going to be really hungry all the time, and therefore you're going to want to eat whatever there is. And it's I think the same about food in old people's homes. Aged. What do we call those? We probably don't call them old people's homes anymore. Aged care. Hi, Marie. Nice to see you joining. And when they change the diets in those institutions, change people's diets and start feeding them better food, they all get more energetic, and they suddenly wake up, and they have life in them again. And it's just, that would be my dream if I had a care home for older people, or for anybody. I'd be wanting to be. I wouldn't have it unless I could feed them properly. And then I'd want to do that to see them all get better, because it does make you get better just by putting the right fuel into the body, don't you? It's just miraculous, and it's so fascinating to watch. Even though I know what's going to happen when people I work with one-to-one, and they start eating properly, and they're so surprised within 2 weeks, 3 weeks about how great they're feeling and the differences they're seeing so quickly. Because we just don't believe it could be that simple. And I was talking to a client this morning, and she said it's so easy, and yet we make it. She thought it was going to be so hard, and she said it just hasn't been that hard. And she's into week 7 of a 3-month program, and she's lost. And I always say to people, it's not just about the weight loss. That's just this lovely side effect. When you start putting the right nutrition into the body, your body naturally gets to the right place weight-wise. You lose the fat. Some people it's easier than others. Some people are really resistant to it, and it takes much, much longer. But the starting point is eating the real food, and people are so amazed. And she's lost, I think she said she's lost 13 pounds, or I mean, yes, it was 13 pounds, because I said, wow, that's like 26 packs of butter. In the UK, we have butter, don't we, in 8-ounce packs. I know in the States it's 4 ounces. In the UK, it's 8 ounces, like half a pound. That's like losing 26 packs of butter. And if you put them in a bag, oh, it's just gone off there. if you put 26 packs of butter in a bag, that's quite a lot to carry, isn't it? And that's what she's lost in 7 weeks. Amazing, just amazing. And her big takeaway is it hasn't even been that difficult. And she was looking great. She's glowing. She's really looking great this morning. And her goal is she's going to a big wedding in Australia. And when I spoke to her 2 months ago, probably when I first met her, a little under 2 months, she said, she was feeling really hopeless. And she said, could she tried everything. She felt so hopeless about the weight she was gaining. She was feeling so unenergetic and stuck. And would she be able to lose the weight in time for the wedding? And actually, I never know the answer to that, because I don't know in any individual how long it's going to take them to lose weight, because it depends on things like how strict will they be with themselves, because you do have to be strict at the start. You do have to ditch the sugars. You do have to be, stay on track and then continue to stay on track. But it gets easier and easier, and you're never hungry because you're just eating properly. So there's that. It feels great. Nikki says, yep, I said that. They now think I'm a nag when it comes to preaching about how our bodies work and what's bad and good for us. They are starting to listen. Well, the people in the brain injury unit that are eating the food, hopefully they will be feeling so much better because they're eating real food. God, well done you. That's brilliant. What a brilliant thing to be able to make a change to change for people and know that it's making such a difference. That's fantastic. I wish that there were people like you in all these big institutions that could make these changes, because it has to happen from the ground up, doesn't it? It has to be us saying we don't want to eat like this anymore. We don't want this food. We want to do something better than this. We've got so far from what is healthy, haven't we? Marie, brand new member here from the US. Hi, thank you so much for joining. What can cause a woman in postmenopause to be estrogen dominant? Oh, that's a tricky one. I'm looking into this more because of the course, particularly because of the course I've just been doing with Dr. Bars, who told me yesterday that she would put all postmenopausal women on estrogen. Rather, I've never taken HRT. I've never used it. I thought about it a couple of years ago, then decided not to, because I just didn't think I needed it. And I'm over the menopause. I did it, went through it ages ago. Estrogen dominance comes from, isn't it from too much estrogen in the world around us, too much estrogen that we are getting from things like plastic bottles, which give, when we ingest microplastics, and there's so much of it in the environment. I'm going to have to look into this because I don't know a lot about it. I certainly don't know a lot about HRT either, which I'm now looking into as of yesterday. But I will find out, and then I can do a video about it. But I don't know all these things necessarily just by it's not, I have to research each subject. I know plastics in the environment are a serious problem, and microplastics, and because they're in the seas, the fish are eating them, and therefore we're eating them if we're eating the fish. And if we eat the big fish that have been in the sea for a longer time, they've ingested more of them, we're ingesting more of them. Don't they say that microplastics hasn't it been found even in the umbilical cords of newborn babies? They're finding microplastic. It's just in everything. It's in the very fabric of everything. And I think that's one of the big reasons. But I will find out for you, and I will post, or I will do a video about it. It's on the list. Steve Jones, welcome. Oh, Steve Jones has just joined. Thank you for joining, Steve. Because that's the thing, isn't it? And I know that, estrogen dominance is a problem. So when Dr. Boz said to me yesterday, she wouldn't hesitate to recommend that all postmenopausal women take estrogen supplements to avoid our bones thinning, to avoid osteoporosis. And my question was, well, I do loads of weight-bearing exercise. I walk every day. I jump on my rebounder. I don't skip. I'm trying to make myself do jump rope, but I haven't got very far with that yet. It's in my plan to do that, but I haven't done it yet. But she said it doesn't make any difference. You are still going to be losing bone density year on year. Therefore, you still need to replace the estrogen. But I didn't ask her about estrogen dominance because, we know that's a big problem. So, but maybe it's different estrogen. She's talking about estradiol. So, like I said, I will look into it for you. We have a very small group of us here tonight, and 10 of you watching are not asking any questions, which makes for quite a stilted conversation. It's 10 to 8 here in the evening in Andorra, and it's the most beautiful clear sky, blue sky, and the sun's dropped, and we had a bit of snow last night. So I'm looking across at the mountains from my apartment windows, and there's the lightest dusting of snow, which is very pretty. Nobody else? Anybody got any more questions? Steve, you've just joined. You must have a question. You've just joined to ask something. Nikki, I'm in the UK, Essex. Did you join the gym? And then, yes, I did. I joined the gym, and I've been going now for, I guess, about a month, since maybe time goes so fast, doesn't it? Maybe longer than that. Ever since we kind of stopped traveling around all over this place in the summer. Maybe we've done 5 weeks, and I've been going 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't do that long. We might be in there for 25 minutes, half an hour tops, just lifting heavy weight, the heaviest weights I can for the different machines. And one day I might do legs, and the next day I'll do more on my arms, and then do some stomach and some stretching. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm seeing a difference already. I'm already seeing, and I'm taking creatine, which was also one of Dr. Vosey's recommendations when I talked to her last night. I actually got to talk to her, which is brilliant. She said, and take creatine. Everybody should be taking creatine. And I said, oh, good, I already do that. It's just like a no-brainer. It's cheap. It's proven to not only help you build muscle, but it's also, if you take enough of it, if you take up to 20 grams a day, it helps your brain will use it as well. Your brain can't use it if the muscles are sucking it all up, so you need to take a bit more. So more than 5 grams a day, which is what I used to take. So now I take 20 grams a day. So I take a big scoop in the morning when I take my vitamin C and my salt first thing in the morning, big glass of water. The vitamin C I've got at the moment tastes disgusting. It's bitter. It's the sodium ascorbate, and it's horrible, but knock that back. And and then I take more creatine later. So I've taken the 20 grams. Marie, I've never taken HRT yet. I've been diagnosed with endometrial hyperplasia. In my research, it's caused by the dominance of estrogen, and that my liver may not be metabolizing the estrogen. Yeah, this is the stuff I've just got to look into. So on that basis, I guess they won't prescribe HRT for you at the moment anyway. Do you follow a ketogenic diet? Because the ketogenic diet is the best thing you could do to heal your liver. This is, like I said, I'm going to do a big deep dive into this and learn as much as I can, because people have been saying to me for a long time, you should, reconsider, change your opinion on HRT, reconsider it. But I just didn't feel I needed it. But endometrial hyperplasia, that sounds awful. Something else I need to look into. Steve Jones. Hi everyone. Struggling with oxalates after taking antibiotics for SIBO. Will keto and vitamin C, etc. help? Yes, definitely. So oxalates, you need to, first of all, I know more about oxalates than I know about estrogen dominance. You need to cut the oxalate-rich foods out of your diet. And the best place to start would be to read, if you haven't already read it, Sally K. Norton's book. No, did she write, what is it called? Toxic Superfoods. She is like the oxalate queen. She knows so much about them. She healed herself, and then she, wrote a book about it, and now she helps other people to heal from high oxalate levels in the body. And oxalates come from fruits and vegetables, not from animal products, not from meat, fish, eggs. They come from fruit and veg, which we've all been eating in abundance for years and years because we've been told they are superfoods and they're so good for us, and this is what the human diet should consist of, is largely fruit and vegetables. Turns out, when I cut out eating all this fruit and cut my vegetables down to a minimum and only ate low oxalate vegetables, my whole gut healed, because I'd spent, like I say on many of my videos, over a decade trying to heal myself. I was in so much pain, and I never could figure out what it was because I thought I had a healthy diet. I'd cut out the sugars and I thought I was healthy, but those oxalate-rich fruit and veg and things that are really high in oxalates are things like spinach, kale. Oh gosh, Sally will give you charts, so you can just look them up on the internet. There's charts and charts of all the oxalates in foods, what each food contains. So the first thing is to cut those out, which enables your body to start ridding itself of the stored oxalates. So this stuff it's like putting glass into the body. It's like putting fine shards of glass. The body has to store them away so they don't rip us to pieces. This is a very basic way of explaining it, but they get stored away in our tissues, they get stored in our joints, and then over long term, and I guess as the storage space runs out, they start to cause problems. And I just go back to Steve's question again. And you've been taking antibiotics for SIBO. So I never took antibiotics for SIBO and SIFO, which I had, again, in abundance. Candida was my big problem. But when I discovered Dr. Sarah Myhill, which was going back just over 2 years ago, and I learned about the vitamin C flush from her. She's written lots of books. She's brilliant, British doctor. I did a vitamin C flush, and that was like the beginning of my healing. So yes, keto definitely helps because you're eating much lower levels of carbohydrates. So, ideally, I'm now sticking to the Dr. Boz guidelines of staying under 20 grams of carb a day, which isn't very much. And I've been low oxalate and low carb for ages anyway. More than like I said, about 2 years. So once you stop eating those oxalates all the time, then the body can start to get rid of the stored oxalates. And the vitamin C doesn't necessarily help with the oxalates, but it will definitely help with the SIBO. I mean, that's what it cures, because if you do a vitamin C flush, you take that high dose of vitamin C, it starts to sweep down through the gut, and it sweeps in its wake. It takes with it bacteria and fungus and virus. So that's the thinking behind it. You take a high dose, and the idea is to draw liquid into the digestive tract and flush out, get a big bathroom moment. So that will not happen until the vitamin C's done its job of working its way down through your digestive system, starting from, some people have got the wrong bacteria or the wrong funguses or virus right up almost into their esophagus or into their esophagus. Some people it's just in the stomach, some people it's just in the small intestine. These are pathogens that shouldn't be there. But once they get in there, if your stomach acid isn't strong enough to kill them off, they can start to proliferate. And, poor gut motility is another problem, another cause of these pathogens doing so well in your gut. My son is He's just probably just remembered that I'm on a YouTube live. And yes, so the vitamin C flushes this all out, flushes it out, and eventually and the level of vitamin C that you have to take is different for everybody. So somebody might flush out after just 10 or 15 minutes with one dose of 5 grams, and another person might need 180 grams, which is all day until you feel so sick and bloated and disgusting, and you're gurgling away and you're full of gas and you still haven't flushed out. Everybody's different, but that's the starting point for getting rid of the SIBO and the SIFO. And then you don't need the antibiotics, because the antibiotics will only kill it off temporarily. And then if you don't follow the ketogenic diet and keep the sugars low, they will just come back again. And they're also really strong, aren't they? They're really strong. And I don't like taking antibiotics ever unless it's life-threatening. I was told in my 20s by an alternative medicine practitioner. She said to me, don't take antibiotics unless it's life-threatening. Your body can't cope with them. And it was like, really? Gosh, didn't it? I was in my 20s. I didn't have a clue what she was talking about. I just thought, that's a bit scary. But yes, the keto will definitely help going forwards. Once you've got rid of that SIBO, then a ketogenic diet, very low carb, keep low oxalate, allow the oxalates that are in your body to be flushed out. It might take a decade. You might get massive reactions intermittently. You might get big reactions initially and then get nothing. I've never had any massive reactions, but then you never actually know whether a symptom is oxalate dumping or something else. So it's but my husband at one stage a couple of Christmases ago had a really bad, really angry rash all over his back, and the only thing we could think of was it was an oxalate reaction. Oxalates will come out of any way they can out of your body once you clear the way and allow them to come out by not eating the oxalate rich foods. And to know what they are, you need to look at the lists and see what's safe to take and what isn't, or what's safe to eat and what isn't. But just keep the vegetables and fruits into small quantities, and then you shouldn't have a problem. Marie, my husband and I have just started a ketogenic diet. That's the absolute best thing you can do, Marie, for your situation with trying to heal your body and allowing your body to heal itself. The ketogenic diet will just enable that to happen so much faster. So fantastic. Well done. Steve says, will it heal so I can eat these foods again? Yes, it will heal, but you just have to be careful with them. I mean, once you know that it's those, once you can identify the foods that have caused you the problem, you may be a lifelong spinach lover, and we eat spinach raw, don't we? We eat it in salads, and I talk about spinach and kale because they're two of the very highest oxalate containing foods, and they're worse if they're raw. The way to eat spinach is to cook it for a long time, so it's really soggy, like our grandmas used to cook it, and put some dairy with it, and the calcium in the dairy binds to the oxalates and carries them out of the body, so it makes it a safe way to eat. But if your thing is raw spinach or spinach smoothies, then yeah, I would suggest don't eat them anymore. You think about things differently once you realize how they're hurting you. I loved vegetables and fruits all my life. I ate them by the bucketful, and they just didn't do me any favors. So I find it easy these days just to not eat very many of them. I love fermented vegetables. I love things like kimchi and sauerkraut. So I eat those every day, but in small quantities, not the large quantities I used to eat. And all the vegetables I eat, I hardly eat any fruit, but all the vegetables I eat are those low oxalate choices. Kelly Irwin, hi, thanks for joining. Any ideas, says Steve, how I can speed up motility naturally? My SIBO is the methane dominant, so terrible constipation. I've been doing keto for the past 2 weeks, seems to slow the motility even more. Yes, there's a few things you can do. Have you tried MCT oil? MCT oil is brilliant for speeding up gut motility. You need to increase your fats. So people start keto, and I did the same as this. I just didn't realize how I needed to actually track the protein and fat ratios so that I made sure I was having more fat than I was having protein, or a sort of, similar amount. I was eating lots and lots of protein, and just without adding extra fat, you're not getting anywhere near the ratios that you need. And fat's very satiating as well. So right now I've sort of settled at around about 90 to 100 grams of protein and a similar amount or slightly more of fat. Some keto aficionados, some people will go up to 4 times as much fat as protein. So they might settle on 50 or 60 grams of protein a day, but 4 times the amount, up to 200 grams of fat. I feel you don't want to add too much fat if losing your own body fat is the goal. You want your body to burn its own fat off. But MCT oil is great. Other things you can do. Once you start eating sufficient fat, that will speed up gut motility. What else? First thing in the morning, a glass of hot water with half a teaspoon of salt and a juice of a lemon in it. That can help. Some people find that's very beneficial. It's more gentle. It will take a little bit longer to work. Make sure you're drinking enough. Make sure you're hydrating really well between meals. Don't eat between meals. Only eat your meal, stop eating, fully digest it, and then eat your second meal of the day. Same thing. Don't snack, don't constantly. That slows gut motility as well, because if you just even eat so much as a mouthful or another fatty coffee after you've eaten your breakfast, for example, maybe it's an hour or two later, everything that's in your stomach then slows down, pauses, and waits for the new food to catch up. So that's why snacking's just off the table. Cider apple vinegar helps some people. Drinking a couple of tablespoons of cider apple vinegar in water is good for gut motility. Before I was ketogenic, I used to use things like slippery elm, but I don't use that anymore because it's not part of a ketogenic diet. But you probably find if you're not tracking your macros, then do track them. I've recently discovered the Chronometer app, again through Dr. Boz, which I find is much better than the app I was using. And you can get it free, but you can also pay for it if you don't want the painful adverts. But Chronometer, you tell it what your goal is, you put all your details in, and it just tells you what to eat, and it just keeps you on track, makes sure you are eating enough that fat to protein ratio. Because if you just increase the protein and you don't increase the fat, you will get constipated. And there's a period of time. I mean, it's not a problem for me these days, but there were a few months at the beginning where I didn't, my system wasn't that regular. It took a while, and I think that's because the gut was healing. And you've got to make sure that you're drinking enough so that you're keeping the mucus lining of your gut really sticky and moist, as it should be, not dried up and crispy, which is what happens if we don't hydrate properly. And when you're hydrating, it's not good enough just to drink gallons of water. You've got to drink water with electrolytes in it, because your electrolytes will be depleted because you've reduced the vegetables and fruit in your diet. So it's all these things. It's not just a case of saying do this and do this. You've got to do, it's the hydration, it's the movement every day. And the other thing to bear in mind is if you're healing particularly, your body's going to be using that protein so efficiently, really utilizing it for repair, for building, for rebuilding, laying down bone mass, building your muscles, repairing things that it hasn't been able to repair when you weren't eating enough protein, maybe in your old life. And there isn't much left over. There's not much poop to come out after that. So it is quite normal for people just to go every other day or every third day. But it does become more regular once your body heals. I'm always using my dog as an example. His poops are really small because he just eats meat. He doesn't have those massive, great big piles that I see other dog owners leaving on the ground when they don't pick it up. because that doesn't happen a lot here in Andorra, with big bits of corn and cereal in it, because he doesn't eat any of that sort of food. It's really little comes out. There's very little waste. So there's that to get used to as well. Lorem ipsum. Evening, Emma. What's the realistic time frame for restoring gut health post 28-day antibiotic course, and what's the best supporting diet? Always a ketogenic diet. I mean, I'm just so wedded to this idea these days that that's all you'll hear coming out of my mouth. But time frame, I guess, I don't really know. I mean, they say that if you take antibiotics, you'll still have the effects of them in your body 2 or 3 years later. I mean, that's not very encouraging, is it? You don't want to hear that it's going to take 2 or 3 years for you to heal, but definitely the ketogenic diet is going to be the best thing that you can do. Include fermented foods into your diet. Include the things like the kefir, the yogurt, homemade, if at all possible. And I can't remember where you are, but if you're in the UK, there's a company I've discovered. I'm just going to put the light on, actually. Give me 1 second. It's getting very dim here as it gets darker. Yes, the company in the UK is called Freshly Fermented, and they mail order all the starters for the yogurts, the kefirs, all of those. And they've got a whole range from different countries. You can buy, Russian ones and Polish ones, and just starters for fermented dairy and fermented non-dairy products if you're in the UK. But yes, the fermented foods are great. But I don't know time-wise. But best supporting diet would definitely be low oxalate, ketogenic, very low carb, real food, just always real food, nothing processed, and no seed oils. I'm so well informed about seed oils since reading Catherine Shanahan's brilliant book, which I read a few weeks ago, and I'm now onto her other book, which is called Deep Nutrition. She's been studying this stuff for 25 years. She healed herself. She was so sick and she didn't know what was causing it, and she figured out it was the seed oils in the food. And I'm on a mission now to tell everybody about seed oils. And by seed oils, I mean the highly processed oils like your sunflower, safflower, corn oil, canola, those, which is rapeseed in the UK, isn't it? Rice bran and one I always forget, grapeseed. The highly processed soya oil. And people say, oh, what about linseed oil? Doesn't that really help? Yeah, not the cold pressed hand or expeller pressed oils. I'm talking about the industrial ones, which they turn from disgusting black sticky tar into this golden liquid that they tell us is heart healthy. It's good for you. It's polyunsaturated. No, it isn't. Don't listen. Don't ever listen. Kelly Irwin, hi. Yes, same. I used to eat veg and salad with everything. Now I've been carnivore for a few years. Life-changing. Feels so much better for it. No joint pain. Isn't that amazing? The no joint pain. It's just, I used to have, particularly my right knee, I used to have a really painful right knee. It doesn't hurt anymore. It's just fantastic. It hurt for years. I had an accident where my mum's horse reared up. I was on him. Reared up, flipped over backwards. I squiggled back as far as I could, but there was a gate behind me and I was on concrete, and I pulled him over, obviously not on purpose, but he was up on his hind legs and he fell on my legs and snapped the anterior cruciate ligament in my right knee. I thought I'd broken both my legs. I just lay there screaming, and I was pregnant. So it was quite a serious accident. And my son, who's staying with us at the moment, he's home from Australia. He's 23, so he was the one I was pregnant with, and this horse fell on me, and that knee ached and hurt for all these years until now. Until now, I adopted a diet where I have so little inflammation that it doesn't hurt anymore, and it's just such a wonderful thing to be free of joint pain. And my back always hurt. I always had low backache for my whole life. The only time I get backache now is if I've eaten something dodgy. And I'm talking about things like seed oil that I perhaps didn't realize was in there. And the other day I woke up with a really sore back, and luckily I did some fascia release and got rid of it very quickly. But it's the only time. It's just the only, when you get that inflammation, it's the only time as if I've had something bad go into my body. You get very sensitive to it. I never thought I could give up all those veg. I was a salad. Oh gosh, I loved salad, and I'd make a bucket of it, and I'd eat most of it. I loved it so much. Always hungry. The rule of three times a day to every third day. What was the rule of 3 referring to? Are we talking bowel movements? Time to recover from antibiotics? You'll have to enlighten me. Thanks. You go on to say, Lauren Ipsum. Thanks. Longest I've heard is up to 4 years to restore gut health. Yes, you're in the UK. Yeah, which is a bit like miserable, isn't it? Because I've had antibiotics in the last 4 years. I had to have them, I think 3 years ago, I had to have some antibiotics. So they're nearly out. But I'd like to think that with an optimal way of eating, things heal a lot faster. Maybe 3 or 4 years is for people eating a normal diet with all the sugars, all the crap, all the things that are considered normal in our Western diet. Maybe that's the people that take 3 or 4 years to heal. Maybe for people who are more enlightened than that and eat a more healthy, proper human diet, as Dr. Ken Berry says, maybe it doesn't take us so long. Thanks for the recommendation. You're so welcome. Steve says, I've been feeling a bit sluggish since starting keto, and I found that random joints have started hurting too. Is this normal when starting out? Yeah, all kinds of things. So all kinds of things hurt. And like I said earlier, I've been doing Dr. Boz's 21-day program for 3 weeks, and I'm really tired. And I was already keto, like I said, for nearly 2 years now. But I wasn't being really strict about my eating window. I wasn't being really strict about staying below 20 grams of actual carbs a day. I wasn't including so much fat, and I've really changed a few things. And these last few days, last week we had to do a sardine fast, which went on for 3 days. Which is, for me, is fine because I love sardines, not a problem to eat those. Some people really struggled with it and would just like eat 1 can a day because they just hate them so much. You can also do it with things like mackerel, salmon, wild salmon. But sardines are ideal because they've got that ideal fat protein ratio in each little fish. And because they're little fish, they haven't been in the sea for very long. So hopefully they're not full of microplastics. And apparently it's been there was also, I think started by Joe Rogan. There were some rumors going around that eating too many sardines would give you arsenic poisoning. And Dr. Boz really put that to bed. And she said you'd have to eat so much fish, so much seafood for that to affect you. So it's not something to worry too much about. But yes, painful joints the painful joints might be the oxalates moving around. They get stored away in our joints. So when they start moving, when you clear your system of them because you're not eating them all the time, they start to come out, and they make their way out of joints. They come out of your eyes. They come out of weird places in your skin. Like I said, my husband had a back rash. Some people report them coming out of their cheekbones, or, when you get your eyes are really gritty in the mornings. Like we used to say, what did we say when I was a child? My dad used to say that it was the Sandman had visited. Well, it's not the Sandman. Unless you've got a cold, it can be oxalates coming out, really gritty eyes in the morning. They can come out, they can come out through the digestive system, obviously. So some people pass very painful through through when they go to the loo, when they go to the toilet. Apparently that's really unpleasant. But yes, the painful joints could be, things are changing and things are healing. And yeah, you can get weird headaches, excruciating pain in your head for no reason, so yes. Thirsty work doing all this talking. Ben Azadi mentions fish oil too, says Nikki Cole. Yeah, fish oil what does he mention about it? That it's good, or that it's potentially got arsenic in it? Fish oil. Ben Azadi talks about fish oil being very oxidized, doesn't he? That's what you're talking about, the oxidized fats. Yes, I know. I've been a bit dubious about fish oil since learning that. I just prefer to eat real oily fish and get my DHA and my EPA from eating the whole fish, rather than some extracted oil that I have no idea of the extraction methods and how it's being produced. We just got to be so careful, haven't we, about everything. It's everything. There's something, whatever you're doing, even when you're trying to be really healthy, there's something that's trying to kill you. or she laughs. Somebody trying to sell you something that's just going to do you no favors at all. Yeah, I don't take fish oil anymore. I always used to. Juliet. Hi, Juliet. Good evening. I am having trouble not snacking. You said to make sure I have enough protein, but sometimes I just can't eat anymore. I'm egged out. I'm doing keto and I eat the vegetables. How much fat are you eating, Juliet? Because since I've increased my fats, I find it very easy just to eat my food and then be so satiated that I don't think about it anymore. It is important to make sure you're getting enough fat. And it's not enough just to be, especially when you start, because you're probably not fat adapted fully. That can take months in some people. It takes months, and in fact, it can take even much longer than that. I've realized my insulin levels, my blood sugar levels are still higher than I'd like to see them. I'm still sometimes in triple digits in the mornings, still trying to bring those numbers down. Until the blood sugar comes down, the ketones cannot rise. So you may be, still, your sugars may be still higher, which makes you feel, hungry when they drop. We want the sugars to come down. We want the ketones to rise. So protein and fat, if you haven't already done it, download the Chronometer app, because it's got ketone levels in it, and you can actually, keto levels, and you can actually then figure out for your height and weight and your activity levels. You can pick a rigorous keto, you can pick moderate keto, you can pick easy keto. So you can choose which lane you want to go in, and then it will tell you exactly how much fat you need to be eating, and weigh everything until you know what it all weighs and how much you need of each thing. Okay. Juliet, same as Steve Jones, sluggish and the odd painful joints. Yeah, like I said, it can be the oxalates, it can be other things. I mean, your body will store away anything that it can't cope with. It could be, I've got this theory that I ate so much seed oil for so many years because I didn't realize, and I was such a big biscuit and cake lover. I mean, it was just, to me, the only reason to drink a cup of tea was so I could have biscuits with it, cookies, or cake was just like cake. I just was ruled by those foods for so many years. So I know that, any cake you eat from a shop is not generally made with butter. It's made with seed oil, isn't it? It's made with something cheap like margarine. And I ate that crappy food for so many years. And I have this theory that if that's what my fat stores are made from, when you start to burn that off and you start to get your, tap into your fat stores by adopting a ketogenic diet, it's low quality, it's low grade fuel. So there's that, which is going to make you feel very tired because you're pulling the fat out, but it's just not, it's like putting watered down petrol in your car. It just won't run properly. Probably won't run at all if it was a car, but think of that analogy. And I just think it makes you feel so tired until you've become fat adapted, or add more fat to your diet to give you more energy. That's where MCT oil can be brilliant, but don't overdose on it, because it can, going back to the thing about constipation, it can go through you pretty quickly. It can give you a big bathroom moment, and it can give you a stomach ache too if you're not used to it. So increase it gradually. I add a tablespoon to my morning coffee, which I have around breakfast time. I don't have it separately anymore. I sort of have coffee and breakfast is all the same time of day now. So I just have that one meal with the really fatty coffee, which is delicious. I love it. I've tried moving the coffee further on, but I don't. Once I've finished my breakfast, I don't want to be having another meal. And putting fat in your coffee is like having a meal, isn't it? But yes, it could be any of those things. It could be that you're just your body's utilizing fats that are of low quality and they're toxic, and they've got to come out. And the only way to get them out is to burn them off. So when you burn them off, your energy levels go down, you feel really sluggish, and you just be kind to yourself while you go through that process. Don't try and do too much. You can't kind of exercise your way out of that, can you? Because you just feel too exhausted. So yes, increase your fat might help with the snacking. I never need to snack because I eat such satiating foods at my 2 meals. So maybe look at what you're eating. What supplements do you take, says Steve? I take creatine, 20 grams a day. I take vitamin C just as a maintenance dose. I take about 5 grams. The amount that Dr. Sarah Myhill says, the amount that gives you a formed bowel movement every day. Vitamin C is the other thing to take for slow bowel movements, because if you take more than, you can make yourself go to the loo very easily by taking more vitamin C. I take vitamin C. I have some salt in my first warm glass of warm water, so it's warm, so it dissolves the creatine. And I take the creatine, the salt. I put a scoop of MSM into that, and the what was that? Salt is usually my electrolytes. Vitamin C, creatine, and MSM. I put those in a big glass of warm water, and I drink that first thing in the morning. Apart from that, I take iodine, usually in the middle of the day. There's a dosage chart in my free PDFs if you haven't already seen that. Lugol's iodine, which is the kind you can ingest, because we are all so deficient in iodine. It takes about 6 months of taking the optimum dose to saturate all your body tissues, and 6 months or more. Dr. David Brownstein, who's the guy who wrote the book about iodine, which is brilliant. I can't think what it's called at the moment, but maybe it's just called The Iodine Fix, but really worth a read. Iodine is responsible for so many functions in the body. And we're all depleted because the soil's so depleted. So the animals we're eating didn't eat from soil which was rich in iodine, and the vegetables are very low in it. And, that's one of my... I don't really take much else. Oh, vitamin D, D3, and with K2. I haven't been taking it over the summer because I eat so many sardines, and you get vitamin D from them too. And I had a lot of sunshine. But now we're coming into the winter months. I started taking vitamin D3 combined with K2. I found one that is drops in black seed oil. So it's because some of them are in sunflower oil, aren't they? Or you could take tablets. But you can get these things tested. You can have your levels tested. And if you're below about 50, you should be taking a vitamin D supplement. We all spend too long indoors, and we all wear clothes. And I don't wear sunglasses anymore because I want the sun in my eyes. So I make sure my eyes are uncovered when I'm outside to get the vitamin D, but also uncover my skin as much as possible. But it's not very easy in the wintertime, is it? It was very cold up the mountain this morning, 4 degrees and a sprinkling of snow. And I was making a video, and it was snowing up at the ski station. They were getting it all ready for the ski season, putting all the fences up and everything they have to do pre-December when the skiing starts, hopefully, if we get some snow. And that's about it. I don't really take any other stuff. I try to get everything from my food. I think that whole food form is the best way to take your supplements. Best way, you don't need supplements if you get it all from your food. But I am looking into HRT, which all the HRT fans out there will be really pleased to hear that, because people have been saying, oh, please reconsider on HRT. I'm going to find out, because I've been advised that estrogen for women post-menopause prevents osteoporosis, or it being as bad. Steve says, I've got a couple of stone to lose. Should I count calories starting out this keto? No, you don't need to count calories. But if you just get your macros right, use an app, get the macros right, chronometer's excellent. There's one called Keto, I think, but there's several of them. Just use an app. Just make sure you're getting enough protein, enough fat, and don't worry too much about the calories, but just keep the carbs low. That's what you should be looking at, those three things. Calories, not so much at this point, but you will lose weight. Men find it much easier to lose weight than women. So you've got that advantage. Butter and cream, maybe not fat adapted, says Juliet. Yeah, it takes a while. The other thing that you need to do is measure your, prick your finger with the blood tests, measure your ketones and measure your blood sugar levels, because you have to see, otherwise you don't know. If you don't know what your blood sugar is and you don't know what your ketones are, you never know if you're in ketosis. And that's the goal, isn't it? Have you any favorite keto cookbooks? No, because I'm one of those cooks that I just see what I've got and I throw it together with some other things I've got and make things up. I do have recipes in my program because people are always asking me for them. No, I don't. Suggest one. I'll look into it. The other thing is if I've got ingredients and I don't know what to do with them, which doesn't happen very often because I tend to kind of eat the same things every week. I'll have a roast chicken one day, I'll have a roast lamb one day, I'll have steak a couple of times, I'll have, I don't know, we don't eat fish very often at home, but lots of ground beef, lots of mince. And I just chuck it together with, when you only eat twice a day as well, it's one of my favorite recipes of the year is my mum came up with the idea to use the 2-ingredient flatbread to make like pasta sheets, to make the pasta for for a lasagna, and that is so delicious. And I made a video about it. It's really good. I think that's my favorite thing when I've got a bit more time on my hands and I'm going to actually make up a recipe that isn't just chucking everything in the pan. Tara. Hi, Tara. I've had bariatric surgery, so my stomach is very small. Have you done any research on the topic? Yes, I have, because my daughter had the operation. One of my daughters had this operation. You have to be very careful to make sure that you're getting enough nutrients. So you have to be really, you may need to eat more than twice a day. You may need to eat 3 times a day, for example, and eat small because you're eating smaller meals. I haven't done a ton of research on it, but unfortunately, it's one of those things, isn't it? Have you had the kind of surgery where Steve says, I'll have to go, I'll have to watch the rest tomorrow. Love the live show. Thanks, Steve. You should do more. I will. Hopefully I'm going to do one every week. So thanks for joining and thanks for your questions. And I hope it was helpful. Yeah, if I knew then, because my daughter had the operation quite a while ago, what I know now, I wouldn't have advised that she had it. But on the other hand, sometimes it's the only thing, isn't it? It's so difficult for people who just don't, because of being misinformed about what we should be eating, for people who have put on so much weight that it's, it feels like the only possible thing that they could do to stop themselves from eating. But the main thing is to retrain your palate and retrain yourself and away from the sweet foods, the sugary foods, because it's still possible to have that operation and still carry on being overweight afterwards if you don't change your diet and change all the things that made you overweight in the first place. So Steve, do I eat cheese or yogurt? Oh, Steve's probably gone now. Yes, Steve, I do eat a little bit of cheese, love cottage cheese, a bit, not tons. And yes, I eat homemade yogurts and Greek yogurt when I haven't got around to making homemade. But yes, I do make homemade yogurts. And I have kefir every day, but probably no more than about half a cup. That would be my sort of maximum. But I make sure it's really good stuff, really well fermented, so that it's got lots of goodness in it. What else? Oh, last question. I feel a bit scared carrying on with the high fat. What can you say to reassure me to carry on? We'll watch the video in full tomorrow morning. Thanks again. Don't feel scared of the fat. You don't need to be. It's not the fat that causes us to have these terrible problems in our bodies with things like plaque and heart attacks. It's the seed oils. Those are what you should be scared of. Seed oil and sugar to a lesser degree, but it's the seed oils. Read Dark Calories if you haven't already read it, by Kate Shanahan, to put your mind at rest on that. But read anything by Zoe Harcombe. Dr. Zoe Harcombe's amazing about cholesterol. She was the person that I found her about 12, 13 years ago, and I read her first book and started to think, wow, I don't need to fear fat. This is really mind-blowing, because at the time I was still skimming the fat off everything. And educate yourself about it. Learn why the way that doctors test, they don't interpret the cholesterol tests correctly. And it's to do with particle size, and it's way too complicated for me to go into it here and now. But people do feel scared of fat, and that's where it's all gone so horribly wrong. It's the wrong kinds of fats that cause the problems, not just fat overall. Animal fats. So, think about how clever and amazing our bodies are at. Our body, Kate Shanahan says our bodies are control freaks. Our cells are control freaks. They are so careful about what the levels of everything, making sure everything's kept in balance all the time. Why do we think that with a body that is such a finely tuned machine, that is so incredible and amazing, would you put fat in the body and it goes, oh, I don't know what to do with that. Oh my God, now I've had a heart attack. Why would that be the case? It just isn't like that. It's not the natural foods, the real foods that are causing the problems. It's all these chemicals and all this chemically altered crap that we've been eating for donkey's years. That's what causes the problem. When you take that out of your diet, you can heal, and you don't have to be afraid of fat at all. Please don't be afraid of fat. It's just read a couple of books, and also read about who Ansel Keys was, the father of the cholesterol theory of heart disease, and how he came up with this theory, and then within 10 years was kind of saying, wasn't actually quite like I said it might have been. But by that stage, everybody was on the low-fat bandwagon, and it's just kept rolling ever since. So Ansel Keys, watch my cholesterol videos. I've said a bit about them. I've talked about him quite a bit. Tara, before surgery, you helped me a lot with changing my diet. And I go, oh, fantastic. So this is surgery you've just recently had. You had a vertical sleeve. So does that mean then that your sleeve is it vertical sleeve? So does that mean it's reversible? So you could get rid of it later on if you need to, because that would be the perfect scenario, wouldn't it? So you lose your appetite, you get down to the ideal. Oh, I'm getting very dry. You get down to the ideal body fat ratio that you want through eating healthily, eating real fats, eating real foods, and then maybe you can have it removed. Just 2 weeks ago. Brilliant. And it's not reversible. Okay. So you've just got to be, you've got to change all the reasons that made you fat in the first place. If you change that, and you've already been doing that, the weight will melt off you. Your appetite is much, much depleted, but you've just got to make sure that you're getting enough nutrients into you for the rest of time, because you don't want your hair to fall out and your bones to get, you don't want to get osteoporosis as you get older, and you don't want to be wasting muscle. So make sure that, but the people who live the longest, the longevity on the planet, the people that have been studied, the people that live the longest eat the least. Eating less is good for us. We shouldn't eat this abundant amount of food that we eat all the time. It's very, very aging, and it causes our lives to be shortened. So yes, you will be in a good place if you keep use one of those apps. Make sure that you're getting enough nutrients into you, enough of the proteins, enough of the good fats. I mean, crucially so where you are now, because it'd be very easy, wouldn't it? Because you don't have the appetite anymore to just eat junk food and survive on very little. But don't do that, and then you should be fine. I'm going to have to go in a minute too, because it's nearly my bedtime, 20 to 9. Isn't it funny how in the wintertime you can just sleep so much longer? And I've just got, look at this, I've just got myself an Aura ring, and I'm absolutely loving it, because I bought it because I was worried that my sleep was really poor quality and I was waking up too many times, because I wake up 2 or 3 times in the night to use the bathroom. And apparently every time you wake up, you have to take an hour off your overall sleep score. So if your sleep score is 8 hours, you've been in bed and you've woken up twice, you have to take 2 hours off. So that's only 6 hours now. And I was just thinking, well, that's terrible. You can't get behind 6 hours of sleep. Anyway, I got my Aura ring. I've only had it literally just over a week, and gosh, it's amazing. And my sleep score's good. It doesn't matter that I wake up 2 or 3 times a night, because I go straight back to sleep. So I'm super pleased with it. Very happy. And it tells you about your stress levels. It knows if you've had a nap, had a nap earlier, and it knew that, because I'm feeling very tired on the keto at the moment. And it tells me, knows all the activity you've done. It's brilliant. I'm absolutely loving it. Oh, Steve, you're not here. All right, let's go on. Blah, blah, blah. Don't be scared of the fat. Okay. Right. I'm also going to sign off. So, Tara, brilliant. Keep going. Where did you have the operation? My daughter went to Turkey to have hers done. Lost 35 pounds before your surgery. That's fantastic. Was that just from adopting the ideas that you've been watching on this channel? Get in. 35 pounds is amazing, and doing really well, keeping your protein high, and my healing has been swift. It'll be as good as it can be, because you're eating optimally. That's fantastic. Got told by my ex last week I was looking skinny, says Nikki. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I love it when people tell me I look skinny. Still got that mindset. What's that old expression? Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. Well, we don't want to be skinny. We don't want to be underweight, but yes, slim is lovely, isn't it? Tara, thank you so very much. You're so welcome. Keep up the good work. Keep telling me about your progress. And you're in California, and yes, I learned from you. Fantastic. I have another client in California at the moment. In fact, maybe 2. Juliet, thank you. Well, thank you so much for all of you who joined. And I'm planning to do this every week. I hope this is a good time, because I can't really do it much later, because like I said, it's my bedtime. And if I can ever figure out how to be better at the tech side of it, then I can share slides and do a topic. But I'll ask my son. He's good with tech. Maybe we can figure that out. And because last time I tried to do a topic, the screen just went black, which is no good. Thank you so much to all of you for watching and for being members on my channel. I really appreciate you, and I will see you next week. Bye for now. Cheerio. Oh, and make sure to give me a like. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Tara. You're very sweet. I think I just have to click end stream. Bye-bye.